Hi folks, and welcome back to another philosophy club. Okay, so one of the age-old questions in aesthetics is that of what is beauty? Is beauty subjective and in the eye of the beholder, or is there something more objective about beauty? Are there rules or principles that beauty adheres to? Such questions go back at least as far back as ancient Greece and continue to today. So in this week's philosophy club, we're going to look at some answers to the question, what is beauty? We'll use art as our example, but anything we say today can be used to talk about people, nature, music, design, architecture, sculpture, basically anything that can be considered an object of beauty, which is kind of cool. But first, I want to test your intuition. Order the following works of art from most beautiful to least beautiful, using your own standards of what you think is beautiful. And if you're with someone, compare your list to theirs. Okay, how did your lists compare? If I asked you to explain why you picked your number 1 compared to your number 4, how would you do so? What words would you use? Would you say how number 1 made you feel compared to number 4? Does 4 have less beauty than number 1? This game should test our intuition about what we think is beautiful, at least in art, and the questions that followed should get us to put words onto our own standards what we think is beautiful. But what does philosophy have to say about beauty? Well, unsurprisingly quite a lot. So let's look at 2 common philosophical explanations of what is beauty. Okay, first let's look at the objective side of the beauty argument. Both in antiquity and in the Renaissance, the most popular argument for beauty involves the ideas of order, proportion, harmony, and symmetry called classical beauty. These ideas involve the composition or the layout of the individual parts as they contribute to the whole work. Whether or not a painter successfully communicated these ideas in their painting contributed to whether it was beautiful or not. Hopefully, you might have spotted some of these ideas in our pictures before. These ideas of order, proportion, harmony, symmetry, arrangement, and distribution can be argued to be objective features of a work of art. When we say a work of art is beautiful for these reasons, they don't appeal to our personal or subjective feelings towards the work. They are for this reason objective. But are these features objective in any meaningful sense? For example, does the golden ratio, which offers a mathematical explanation for the balance and order in a work of art, help you understand why a painting is beautiful? Perhaps why you think a work of art is beautiful has more to do with how you feel. Which brings us to our second argument for what beauty is: subjective experience. The classical conception of beauty fell out of favour in philosophy with the move towards subjective experience in philosophy and also art. What is subjective experience? Well, it's how you experience things. Rather than look to things that are hard to measure like order, harmony, symmetry, and arrangement, the subjective conception of beauty looks at how something makes us feel, whether it makes us happy, brings us pleasure, and these effects, it is argued, are just as valid reasons to find something beautiful. The subjective experience opens up our ideas of what can be considered beautiful beyond classical standards. For example, in classical standards, imperfections like asymmetry and disorder might be considered ugly, despite being natural and sometimes intentional. In the subjective view, all of these features could be considered beautiful depending on who observes them. Of course, the problem with the subjective view is how do we compare our experiences with others? What standards can we appeal to other than this makes me happy or this makes me feel a certain way? How can we argue about how a certain artwork makes us feel? Well, try it in the last part of our video where you will again look at 4 works of art, this time from later periods that emphasize subjective experience rather than objective standards, and see if it is easier or harder to compare the works based on how beautiful they are. Okay, so I'll let you do that. In the meantime, I'll say thanks for watching, I'll talk to you again soon, and enjoy the following works of art.